Welcome back to another model discussion. Last discussion video, I talked about this set as a whole. However, today we're going to be focusing on one building in particular, which would be this big-ass shed. So, alright, where do I get started with this thing? I've gotten a lot of requests to do this. I love talking about the buildings because I scratch build a lot of them, and this has been my most requested one. I've had a lot of people in the past write comments suggesting me to talk about this, and yeah, I'm not very fond of this. Like, it looks fine, or it did at one point, and it suffices, but it's a bitch to work with, and I hate it because of that. It causes me so much pain. So it's very flimsy. For some reason, I don't know why, but the styrene that it's made out of for the roof, it just bends out of nowhere. Like, I don't know why. This has happened on none of my other buildings. It's only this one. And I've done the roof twice. And I don't know, it's just such a pain. So the structure itself was made by Alvin, and he did a great job on it. You can see it's made entirely out of I-beams. So there's like a little gap in the middle here. Let's see that. There we go. Look at that. See, it's great structurally. Like the base structure itself is fantastic, but the roof and all the pieces I did turned out horrible. Yeah, this was his first structurally and my first time working with styrene at all. I believe maybe, yeah. But yeah, the roof just did not turn out well. So it's put together very poorly so that it can come off. Because luckily, you know, if I did ever decide to redo the roof pieces, you know, this can easily be salvaged while everything else can be taken off, like, in a matter of seconds. Yeah, all the ends come off, and then these are puttied on. If I take them off, it's gonna peel off some of the paint, but I mean, this thing is supposed to be heavily weathered in the first place, so I can just go back and, you know, like, swap some paint on there and it'll look just as good as ever, you know. But yeah, so, oh man. So this thing, though, let's get started with the roof. Alvin decided to put on these little tab pieces on top of it, and I mean, they look great, yeah, but they come off all the fucking time, and it's really a pain. I constantly have to re-glue them. I've gone from just using, like, light glue, because I didn't want to bend the styrene, but then I've just gotten so annoyed that I started using super glue, and they still come off, which is stupid. It's held on the back of paper, which is probably another reason why it's bent. Nowadays, I would have used, like, a styrene backing. Maybe find a cheaper alternative, because using a big sheet of styrene like that would kind of be a waste of money. But, yeah, the paper, I think that's in part why it's bending. But then there's things like this. Like, why? Why is it bending there? Why? Why? I don't know. It's stupid. It's really stupid. It's held onto the roof with these 3 slabs of balsa wood that just hang right there, and there. These roof pieces fit on very nicely. They're not too much of a problem as the ends are. Let's see, there we go. Yeah. Alright, that'll do it. But yeah, the ends come off all the time because they're very poorly put on. Sorry, water tower. So as you see, there's this central beam that goes right down through the middle. And if we look at the back of this one, we can see that there are these 2 planks, very thin pieces of balsa wood that basically fit really tightly in there and sort of hang on to it. There's actually no way I can put this down without putting the camera down, so I guess this is just gonna stay off for the rest of the video. But yeah, so the shed itself is based off a shed that appeared as early as the second season, I believe. It was most notably used as a carriage shed for Annie, Clarabelle, and Daisy. It later appeared in season 5, which is what my model is based off. And I tried to replicate some of the like acrylic water paint weathering that I've talked about in the past, I believe on my Ari and Bert video. On the roof, this was one of my first times. This is a very old building at this point. I believe it was finished in like September or October of 2019, but I've come a long way since then, which is really funny because it's not too long ago in terms of modeling. But yeah, I've definitely toned it down since then on this type of like streak weathering. However, I'm still fond of it, how it looks. You know, it adds a little bit of color, so I like that. You know, it's not too dull. You can actually see a perfect example of how I improved comparing it to this shed, which I did later. I did not build this myself. And actually, I will talk about this as well, because I mean, may as well go with the theme. So I guess double feature today, but this shed is kit built. And yeah, I did the same thing with the streak weathering, and it still adds a nice bit of color. You can see little green tints, brown tints shining from the silver overcoat, or undercoat, whatever, I'm stupid. And the base is green or black, I can't remember. Oh, it's silver as well, and then I sprayed black over, and then I did green streaks like I did with this guy. This one also has a little platform that was included. I think in the future, since this thing sits really low to the ground, I'm gonna do a brick base very similar to how I did on this little coal tower. You can see I just put a little stick of balsa, covered it with brick sheet, and then put styrene to make it look like concrete on the top, and that helps it sit a bit higher. You can see now engines can actually fit under it, whereas before it was too small and they would hit this little beam right there. And yeah, that's sort of the same thing with this. This is less intended to be a engine shed and more of a road vehicle shed, or just for like dock materials. However, on this particular set, I decided to make it an engine shed, as you know, it just sort of went with the theme. But yeah, normally this would house vehicles. It would actually be a great place to keep Butch. But yeah, for now, it's serving as an engine shed. So, going back to the big guy, the behemoth over here, this is the bad side for sure. You can see this one's really coming apart on the end, which really sucks because I don't want to redo the roof. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass because I love this building. I use it, you know, a lot on sets because it's a big piece, and big central set pieces come in handy all the time on sets. You just want to be careful you don't use them too much. Like, that's why this guy and Brendan Warehouse over there are sitting out, because I use them so much on sets that I was like, I need to take a break. But yeah, this guy, he always fits well in the background. It's used in the background all the time in the show too, as yeah, it carries on throughout season 5 to season 7, where it actually loses the ends. And that's why they are detachable. Because if I ever want to switch to the season 7 look instead of the season 5 look, I can just do that. Most notably, this is seen in Peace and Quiet, yeah. Where there's a shot where like Murdoch is in this shed and you can see that the ends are off. And these are off too, as I said, these little styrene beams that just cover up the edges. Yeah, it's there in season 5, but yeah, in season 7 they take them all off. And they just have these 2 roof pieces. And I'm betting you anything, it was because of the exact same problem that I'm facing on mine. And no exaggeration there, because I was looking at one of the other buildings that I'm working on, the garage from as season 1. It's a very early building, and you can tell because in season 3, it's got the same like roof pattern texture with like the corrugated metal, and there's some shots where it's like very clearly perking up, and it looks awful. By the time they photographed it for the reference photos, I assume that it was done after season 3 was done filming, but you can see like it's been fixed. But there's some shots where you can very clearly see it like perking up. I could talk a lot more about that building another day, so I'll save the rest of the commentary for whenever I do that video, whenever I have that building finished. Actually, it's not done yet. But yeah, this guy though. This guy's a pain in the ass, and I fear it's just going to become worse over time, and I'm not looking forward to that, because I'm going to have to redo it, and that sucks. No, not looking forward to that. But yeah, this thing is very useful, as I said. It can house engines, I believe up to 4 lines of track, and right now it's just hosting scrap parts, but you know, it can house other things too. It's seen at McColl's Farm, I believe, in the CGI series, maybe the late model series, probably. And I think it's just hosting hay there or something like that. But yeah, for mine right now, it's serving as a little scrap parts shed. And later on, when I start making bigger scrap pieces, they'll fit really nicely under there, and it'll look a lot more alive. But yeah, for now, that covers it for this mess of a building, and yeah, hopefully one day I'll find a magical solution to get the parts to not bend like they are. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this small discussion. If you have any suggestions for future things I should talk about, let me know. Don't worry, I am going to cover Thomas soon. I've gotten a lot of requests to do an engine. And at first I was a bit hesitant to do it because I don't have all the faces done for, like, Thomas and James, and so that's why I was holding off on doing them, but at this point, I think I'm just gonna go back and do another discussion video on, like, the rest of the faces when I finish them, so yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.